A sudden silence washed over the rural community the moment two young children vanished near the tree line, an ordinary afternoon instantly collapsing into a frantic race against time. There was no warning, no slow build-up, no signs that anything was about to go wrong. One minute the children were playing at the edge of the property, and the next they were simply gone. That terrifying shift from routine to crisis sent shockwave through the area and triggered a multi-agency search effort that began within minutes and has only grown in urgency with every passing hour. Before we go deeper into this unfolding investigation, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you receive first-hand updates on this story and others as they develop. From the very beginning, the search operation expanded rapidly. Local police, provincial authorities, volunteer ground teams, specialized rescue units, and federal support arrived with a shared objective of covering as many critical areas as possible before the trail faded. The first officers on the scene immediately sealed off the region surrounding the tree line where the children were last seen, working on the assumption that proximity was their best advantage. Early searches focused on accessible pathways, small clearings, and visible depressions in the brush, areas where small children might have wandered or taken shelter. But as minutes turned to hours, it became evident that the terrain itself was becoming one of their greatest adversaries. Every step forward revealed new complexities: uneven ground, fallen timber, dense pockets of growth, and weather-damaged sections of forest that made even basic navigation challenge. What began as a standard missing children response quickly transformed into a large-scale, technical search requiring precise coordination and expertise across multiple disciplines. One of the earliest pieces of possible evidence, a child-sized boot print, offered a flicker of hope, though investigators were quick to emphasize caution. The print was discovered near an area where the forest floor softens after rainfall, a place where impressions are easily distorted and equally easily misinterpreted. Environmental contamination posed another problem. Dozens of boots, paws, and equipment tracks had already passed through portions of the area before the footprint was spotted. With so many variables, confirming whether the print belonged to one of the missing children became difficult. Weather patterns added new challenges as intermittent moisture, wind, and shifting ground began to blur subtle indicators that could have helped narrow the search zone. The uncertainty surrounding the footprint served as a stark reminder that early clues, while emotionally powerful, cannot be taken as definitive evidence without proper verification. Investigators repeatedly stressed that drawing conclusions too soon could lead to critical missteps, sending manpower in the wrong direction at a time when every minute mattered. Complicating the mission even further was the state of the forest itself. This was not ordinary woodland. It was a rugged, storm-damaged environment still bearing the scars of Hurricane Fiona, which tore through the region earlier, leaving behind tangled root systems, deadfall, uprooted trunks, and jagged pockets of debris that now form an unpredictable landscape. Entire sections of the forest resemble a maze, twisted branches stacked like barricades, splintered trees leaning at precarious angles, and pockets of dense undergrowth that conceal small openings where someone could easily crawl in but struggle to climb out. Emergency crews accustomed to challenging terrain noted that these would presented some of the most obstructive conditions they had encountered in recent years. Not only did the storm remnants create countless potential hiding places, but they also slowed every movement of the search teams. Navigating a stretch that would normally take minutes could require an hour maneuvering around obstacles, cutting through blockages, or carefully walking across unstable ground. Teams had to consider the possibility that the children, frightened or confused, could have slipped into an obscured hollow or been blocked in by fallen debris. Every cluster of storm damage had to be treated as its own search zone, demanding patience, precision, and unwavering focus. Given the complexity, search leaders implemented tight Type 2 grid patterns, a method designed for ground teams to move in slow, controlled lines across difficult terrain where visibility is limited. Unlike broader sweeps, Type 2 grid requires searchers to stay within close spacing, often just meters apart, scanning meticulously for broken twigs, discarded items, small disturbances in soil, or anything else suggesting human movement. These grids are physically demanding, especially in terrain where footing is unreliable and obstacles force constant rerouting. Yet they are among the most effective ways to ensure nothing is missed. Crews worked long hours, marking areas section by section, revisiting zones whenever new information surfaced, and maintaining disciplined formation regardless of weather or fatigue. Supervisors emphasized that rushing would only increase the likelihood of overlooking crucial evidence or unintentionally compromising the scene. Even when progress felt painfully slow, the teams recognized that deliberate, methodical movement was their best chance at piecing together what happened after the children disappeared into the trees. Meanwhile, nature continued to reshape the terrain in real time. Storm debris shifted underfoot. Sections of forest floor collapsed into hidden pockets, and unstable piles of deadfall required careful maneuvering. These conditions forced teams to reassess search priorities repeatedly. A zone that appeared stable one morning might become too dangerous to enter by afternoon. Freshly exposed ground might reveal new search opportunities, while wind gusts could scatter debris and mask earlier indicators. Teams had to adapt continuously, updating maps, relocating resources, and revisiting previously cleared sections whenever the landscape shifted. The fluidity of the terrain became a search variable of its own, one that demanded constant vigilance. Communication challenges compounded these issues. Deep within the woods, radios frequently failed, leaving crews without reliable contact. Some sections of terrain were so shielded by tree coverage and elevation that signals simply vanished. Teams resorted to runners, people physically carrying messages between zones, along with time check-ins and limited-use satellite devices. These workarounds slowed operations but were necessary to prevent crews from becoming lost or disconnected. Search captains emphasized redundancy, no team worked without a communication plan, and every group had a failure protocol in case contact was lost. Even with these measures, communication gaps added delays that had to be compensated for with increased organization and constant situational awareness. Further complicating matters, land access issues emerged early in the search. Critical patches of forest and adjoining properties fell across multiple private lands, requiring formal permission from landowners before searchers could enter. Most owners cooperated immediately, but some required negotiation due to liability concerns, crop protection issues, or incomplete boundary information. Search leaders worked around the clock to secure access, understanding that any delay in reaching these areas could cost valuable time. In certain cases, legal protocols had to be followed to ensure teams could proceed without jeopardizing the investigation. Coordinating all of this added yet another layer of complexity to an already demanding mission. Despite the intense effort, the massive manpower, the advanced tools, and the unwavering commitment from the community, investigators maintain a cautious stance. Evidence remains sparse, and no conclusion can be treated as certain. The absence of definitive proof does not point to any single scenario, and authorities are urging the public not to assume the worst or spread unverified claims. They emphasize that searches of this scale evolve gradually, and answers often emerge after patient, disciplined investigation rather than dramatic breakthroughs. Each day brings new assessments, renewed determination, and a commitment to uncovering the truth through evidence, not speculation. And so the search continues. 2 young children vanished along a tree line, and every hour since has been shaped by determination, cooperation, and an unrelenting push through some of the harshest conditions imaginable. This story is still unfolding, and the people involved, professionals and volunteers alike, remain focused on the same unwavering goal, finding the children and bringing clarity to a situation defined by uncertainty. As the investigation moves forward, the most important takeaway is a reminder that patience, accuracy, and coordinated effort are what ultimately drive search operations of this magnitude. While hope remains, the work must continue with the same intensity and discipline that has carried it this far.